Aisha lay on her straw mat under the open sky, counting stars like she did every night. The moonlight kissed the edge of the zinc roof above her family's hut in the small village of Zongoma. She had memorized the patterns of the constellations, not because she loved astronomy, but because they reminded her that there was more beyond the rust-colored dust of her world. She whispered her secret wish, like a prayer. Ya Allah, let me reach the university. She had said it 1,000 times, even when her father laughed and told her girls don't need school to be wives. By day, Aisha helped her mother fry kasai by the roadside. By night, she revised her notes by lantern light, reading borrowed textbooks from her government school. Her dream was to study medicine in Zaria. Everyone said it was impossible. Her family had no money, and the village had no power. But Aisha believed. She believed in the stubborn way only dreamers could. What she didn't know was that fate had already decided to test the limits of her belief, in the form of a boy she hadn't met yet. A boy named Idris. It was a market day. Aisha balanced a basin of fried akara on her head, her feet dusty and quick as she moved through the noisy crowd. That's when she saw him, leaning against the old well near the mosque, wearing a faded Arsenal jersey and selling cold sachet water from a bucket. He wasn't from Zongoma. She was sure of it. His face was new, but his eyes confident, curious. Idris noticed her too. Not just her face, but the way she moved, like someone who had somewhere more important to be. You day rush like say no plane, you will enter, he joked as she passed. Aisha gave him a long, cold stare, rolled her eyes, and walked away without answering. She didn't speak to boys, not because she was shy, but because she knew how dreams could be derailed. Still, she glanced back, just once. He was smiling. That evening, Aisha's cousin Zainab teased her. You saw Idris, Obi, the one by the well. He said you know fit smile small. Aisha frowned. You today talk rubbish, she said, pretending to be annoyed, but her ears were burning. Zainab grinned knowingly. They say he's from Kolo, dropped out of school, came to stay with his uncle. But he fine, sure. Aisha hated how easily boys became the talk of girls. She didn't want to be part of it, but the name Idris all settled in her chest like a secret. That night, she tried to count stars again, but all she could see was a pair of mischievous eyes and a crooked smile. The next week, Aisha focused harder than ever. She was preparing for WAEC. She avoided the well, took longer routes to school, and prayed harder for strength. But one afternoon, as she was solving past questions under a mango tree, she heard his voice again. You day solve mathematics, like saying our war. Idris had found her hideout. What do you want? She asked, irritated. Just cold water and peace, he said, sitting on a nearby rock. You always day read. You and become president. She looked at him sharply. No, doctor. He smiled again. Good, maybe one day you fit treat my broken heart. The rainy season came early that year. One evening, a heavy downpour trapped Aisha under a bamboo shed near the market. As thunder rolled, Idris appeared again, drenched but laughing. Even rain sobby where you day hide, he said. She didn't laugh, but she didn't leave either. They sat in silence, the sound of the rain between them. Aisha noticed the way he looked at the world, like someone who had been let down but chose to laugh anyway. Why did you drop out? She asked quietly. Idris sighed. Long story, but I know drop dream. I just find another road. At home, Aisha's father was fixing the radio again. The same one that never worked, he shouted at her for coming home late. You think book go cook food for this family? Nah, school go marry you. Her mother, silent as always, handed her dry clothes and a plate of tuwo. Aisha ate in silence, but her heart boiled. That night, she wrote in her journal, some people fear failure. I fear staying the same. She looked at the stars again, but they were hidden behind clouds now, just like her thoughts. The next time they met, Idris brought a wooden pendant he carved himself. "Your name," he said, handing it to her. For motivation, Aisha was stunned. The letters were rough, but it was beautiful. "You carved this?" she asked, surprised. "I carve plenty things, just nobody day by." She held it quietly. She didn't smile, but something in her chest softened. She didn't wear it, not yet, but she wrapped it in cloth and hid it in her bag. And that night, she wrote, "Idris carves wood. I carve dreams." Zainab was the first to notice. "You day write poem now, since when?" She teased, flipping Aisha's notebook and wetting. "Be this wooden thing you hide like secret." Aisha snatched it back. "You no get manners," she snapped. But Zainab just laughed. Love days smell like akara, sweet and oily." Aisha wanted to deny it, but the truth was harder to escape. Idris made her feel seen, like her dreams were not foolish, like she wasn't alone in wanting more. One afternoon, Idris asked her, "If you go university, you go forget people, like me?" Aisha paused. "I know, no. Depends on if you want to be forgotten." He nodded. "Serious now. I want open carpentry school. Teach boys way dem call useless. Make dem no say handwork no be curse." For the first time, Aisha realized something. Idris had dreams too, not like hers, but just as deep. And maybe, just maybe, love wasn't a distraction, unless it asked you to forget who you are. Aisha's mother noticed her silence. "You day fall in love?" she asked one night, folding wrappers by the fire. Aisha looked up, startled. "No," but her mother just nodded slowly. "Love no. Bad. But make sure say no scatter your path. The world already hard for girls like us." Aisha thought about that all night. The next morning, she passed Idris at the well again. He smiled. She didn't stop. But this time, she smiled back, just a little dot. It was a hot Wednesday afternoon, when Aisha was summoned to the principal's office. Mr. Danlami, old and sharp-eyed, sat behind a rusted metal desk covered with files. "You're one of the best students here, Aisha," he began. "But we hear stories. You spend time with that boy, Idris, the dropout. Be careful." Aisha swallowed her anger. "He's not a bad person, sir," the principal sighed. "He may not be bad, but the world will not care. People will blame you, not him. Don't let anyone drag your name through dust." Aisha walked out feeling like her dreams had been dressed in shame. That evening, Aisha wrote a letter she never meant to send. "Dear Idris," it began, "they say you're a mistake. But I think you're a mirror. You reflect things I didn't know I was missing." She folded the letter and tucked it between her books, where it stayed, silent and unread. Sometimes, when the world was too loud with expectations, Aisha reread the letter. She didn't need to send it. Just writing it made her feel less alone.